Good evening, everyone. We're going to be starting now with the AI Scribing Tools webinar. It's about watching the demos. Dr. Pedro Gonzalez is going to be our moderator tonight, so we'll pass it on to him. Dr. Gonzalez?
I had the pleasure of being invited to just co-host on this. I've kind of landed a little bit on the AI world just by using it since my arrival to Canada for about a year and a half. So I wanted to spend just 5 minutes. I won't take much of your time about specifically for my colleagues that are not too tech savvy about why the harnessing AI is so important, especially with the announcement of Dr. Hoffman as the Nobel Prize for Physics in the creation of Neuralinks, which is going to definitely catapult the discussion about AI and deep learning and everything that you're probably just well aware of. So I wanted to just do just a couple of slides. I won't bore you with the details here. Let me just share my screen here. It looks fine. Okay, so just a little bit of context of where AI in health are from concept to reality. In the early beginnings, the AI applications were mainly focused on rule-based systems. This is the area of supervised learning. The machines were just given a set of data rules and some basic information, which via a simple algorithm, it'll kind of give you a very simple result. Where it is now, is the concept of modern deep learning. There's the natural language processing have propelled AI to handle complex data from imaging to patient records. You've heard about Neuralinks and their capacity to not only produce data and results of the information that you're giving to this AI system, is actually able to self-learn and try to formulate new data, which is being very surprising in the last couple of years. In our cohort, in general practice, there's been a big revolution with AI. Now supports real-time scribing. And you'll see it in a minute. Most of all of the AI scribing tools will tease or weave out all of the kind of fluff of a consultation, just give you very detailed information of what you need. And this is for me at least is completely changed my practice. So you'll have a look at this. We talked a little bit more about deep learning, neural networks in action, and you'll have a sense of what the real world applications are like. And I say this because in the next couple of months, my hope is that as a cohort, we adopt not only AI scribing. There's many different things that are going to improve our workflow. We're talking about AI, about making that connection or bridging the gap of communication with our patients. We're talking about integrations in the UAs of chatbots that are communicating with patients as proxies, and they're doing a great job. And this is bridging a much needed gap in the communication with patients generally. The one thing I want you to keep in mind is data. So these systems are not perfect, and there's a quality measure that needs to be really kept in mind. The AI relies on quality data. So the AI system is going to be good enough of the quality of data that you give them. So in AI scribing, the more succinct and predictable and structured your consultation is, the better the model will adapt and the patient can ramble on, but as doctors, if we direct that consultation, it's going to be much more productive, and it will give us the elements that we need. There's a thing about garbage in and garbage out. Poor quality data can lead to inaccurate predictions and errors. So we play a crucial role ensuring data is relevant and clean. Obviously, I won't go into the ethics side of things. That's for a different talk. But just keep in mind, this is a growing business. $45 billion projected to be invested in AI by 2026. There's an annual growth of 40% in AI-powered diagnostics, and this is I mean, they're tech giants, Google Health, IBM, Microsoft, very much integrated into AI. There's big names in EHRs in the US that are now fully using AI integrated into their system. And just as a final note, how revolutionized is the element of Moore's law in AI. So Moore's law, for those that don't know, it says that every 18 to 24 months, there's predicted that microprocessors will improve in their capacity to regulate or read the information, and the cost will be brought down enough for us to update our computers, use it in our phones. AI is doing that in 3 months. 3 to 6 months. So this is the amount of information that is learning and the capacity to do new things is making leaps of every 3 to 6 months. So this is going to change. This is here already, and that is going to really come into our practice, and it's going to come into medicine with the amount of money that's floating around. So I mean, I won't bore you with the details, but I just wanted for you, at the end of the day, my hope is that everybody adopts a portion of this, because A, it will improve your practice. I know that as a matter of fact, because it has improved mine. And B, we are the ones that can boost the quality of the products that are out there, because we are the best people to supervise it, help it learn, and harness it, because it will be in our advantage. And if we veer away from it, I fear that it's going to be in our disadvantage, because patients are going to end up using it. So might as well adopt it, know it, and make use of it the best way that we can. All right, so this is my references, and hopefully that will just give you a little bit of food for thought. Thank you.
Perfect, great. Yes, I agree with all those comments are very strong. It's a very strong area, and it is here to help us spend more time with the patient and less time charting, hopefully. We're going to start with the patient-doctor interaction, and then each of the 5 vendors here that will be doing their demos will be capturing the conversation of me, Sarah, and then we will see how each tool is handled. So
perfect. So shall we start then?
Yes, let's go.
Perfect. Okay. So good morning, Sarah. How are you doing today?
Oh, hi, Dr. Gonzalez. I'm not too well, actually. I've been having this dull pain in my stomach for a few weeks now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. Where exactly is the pain located?
It's sort of around my belly button area, but it can spread across my whole abdomen sometimes. It comes and goes, but it's hard to tell because it just feels like it's always there in the background. Like I'm not sure if it's in my head or not.
So how would you describe the pain for me? Is it sharp, cramping, more of a dull ache?
I would say it's more of a dull ache, but sometimes I think it gets worse after I eat, or maybe when I'm stressed, but there's a lot going on right now. Like I don't know if I mentioned, but my mom, she's in rehab again for her drinking, and it's just been a lot to handle for me.
I see. Have you noticed any other symptoms like nausea, vomiting, or changes in your bowel movements?
No, not really. Just my stomach feels weird. But I've been under a lot of stress and I keep thinking about my mom and what if she never gets better? She's been battling this for years and it's just so hard.
Yeah, that must be really difficult. How long have you been feeling this abdominal pain? You mentioned a few weeks.
Yeah, maybe a little over a month. But honestly, I think it got worse after my mom was admitted to rehab. It's almost like whenever I get anxious, my stomach starts acting up.
Do you have any history of anxiety or other mental health disorders?
Well, I've always been a little bit anxious, but nothing like this. I don't take any medication for it or anything, but lately it's been hard to focus on anything else. Even my work is suffering because I'm constantly thinking about her. My mom's in a bad place, and it feels like I can't do anything to help her. Have you ever felt like that? Like you're just like stuck?
It sounds like the stress around your mom's situation is really weighing on you.
Mm.
I'm wondering if this stress might be contributing to your physical symptoms. Have you noticed whether the pain gets worse when you're feeling particularly anxious?
Oh, yeah, it does. I think like last week when she didn't call me for 3 days, I was so worried. My stomach was killing me the whole time. But then when she finally called, when I finally heard from her, it sort of eased up. It's just so hard to separate what's real and what's just in my head.
I understand. Let's take a look at your abdomen now and rule out any physical causes of this pain. I'll also talk to you about how stress and anxiety can manifest physically, and we can discuss some options to help manage it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do an abdominal examination. Okay, so let's sit you on the bed right there.
Okay,
Okay, all
thank
right.
you.
So just gonna put my stethoscope there. Okay, okay. I see that your bowel sounds sound nice and normal. Um, when I'm touching around the area in your abdomen, does it hurt?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So I see there's a little bit of tenderness around the left upper quadrant. Um, and what about here in the middle of the stomach?
a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. So it sounds like there's just pain everywhere where I'm touching, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, so I can see there's no organomegaly, so or I can't feel any of the organs. I can't feel the liver or the spleen or any other abnormalities. Okay,
good.
so what I think should be next, we'll run some tests to make sure there isn't going something else going on. In the meantime, we'll also talk about strategies for managing your anxiety, as that could be contributing to your symptoms. So we'll order a full set of blood work. We'll order a full blood count. We'll do some ferritin levels. We'll probably do a liver function as well to make sure that that's not contributing to your symptoms. I'll also want to do an H. pylori test and some fecal samples to look at any bacteria or any viruses that you may have. I think they're going to come back unremarkable, but it's just worth checking. And then we'll maybe sit together again with the results in about 4 weeks. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, and can I do anything until then? I mean, is there anything that I can start taking?
I don't think that is necessarily helpful at present. I mean, I would ask you to engage with any mindful activity, something like mindfulness meditation, engage with a bit of light exercise. I mean, this is a normal stress reaction, and a lot of the times, abdominal symptoms manifest with your anxiety. So I think this might be related to that, but my job is to just look at the whole picture. So I won't let you go for a very long time. So we'll see each other in 4 weeks. We'll see how the blood test comes back, and then we'll make up a proper plan. Okay?
Okay, great. So see you in a month.
Perfect. All right. See you
Thank
then, Sarah.
you. Bye. All right, Dr. Ngui.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Daniel Ngui. As I get my screen up, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that I'm a family doctor for the last 24 years. And the main reason I wanted to get involved with artificial intelligence medical scribe is I'm just like you. I'm busy, I want to see my family, and I want to do a better job with my patients. And Mary Lou, you're absolutely right. I think that AI scribing is about giving quality time to your patients. I was happy and sad when I heard Dr. Gonzalez speak. I was happy that he is calling to action everyone on the webinar to take up the AI scribe arms. But I was sad to hear about Moore's Law because my iPhone 16 Pro Max is now obsolete in 2 months. So with that, I'm going to spend 5 to 7 minutes about my particular product. I don't work for this company. I'm a family doctor just like you. I'm really bad at sales. I just really want to share with you my experiences. When I show you this, some things that you really want to differentiate is this, your program offer multi-platform support. Can you use your phone? Can you use your computer? You really want to differentiate based on accuracy and how reliable the AI generated note is. How customizable is it? I think all the companies here today are going to show that they have security and compliance with privacy legislation. And I think that what I'd like to show you is that having a phone app is very helpful because you could go to a multidisciplinary team conference and bring your phone there and go back to your own room to do a telemedicine call or do a house call. So having multi-platform support on your phone and on your desktop is very important. Having a platform that's very minimalist, very easy to use, very quick is ideal for family medicine because we have very quick multiple encounters per day. Now, the nice thing about Empathia is you can have multiple instances going at the same time. So you could have a telemedicine encounter in one room, be called out, and the pharmacist wants to review a patient with you. You bring your phone, your desktop's going in the other room, and you can have another activated a dictation going. I'll be showing you the iPhone, the iOS phone, and the Android Smart app, but I wanted to give you some tips. I want to point out that I've done 4,200 encounters on the left-hand side. I've saved 600 hours maybe, but results will vary. And I think it's very important that when you start the app, you choose the gender, the name, and the type of visit at the very get-go. And when I asked my counterparts who are presenting, I said, what's the person's name? What type of visit is? And the reason why I want to put their name is to protect their privacy. What I'll be showing to you is the desktop view with the Chrome plugin. On the left-hand side, you can see the navigation. So real quick, multi-platform support, the use of a smartphone app, the desktop with the navigation. Thank you, Mary Lou. I think the most important thing I'll be showing you is that you have to do your own due diligence and figure out which company can give you the best type of dictation. You also have to ask about multi-language support, whether it be Farsi, Mandarin, or Cantonese. You have to ask about customization, and I'll show you some of that. Some of the things that I enjoy is using visit templates, and my practice tip for all of you is I'll be showing you where you can paste pieces of information that you've given to patients, such as a URL on how to deal with mindfulness if you have abdominal pain, or where you can get counseling services that we wanted to give to Sarah during that last visit. I think as well, I'll be showing you some of the smart editing features. So I'm almost finished this section. What I wanted to share with you is that, as Dr. Gonzalez says, it's up to us as clinicians to improve the quality of the AI generated note. We have to teach our young AI medical scribe to grow up, to be more accurate, to learn our style. And the more that you provide feedback with smart edits or needs improvement, the more it can suit your needs. And later on, you'll see here on the right-hand side, there is a smart Emma. Emma is an AI bot that can listen to your suggestions to change the note. I think the last thing I'll say is that ask your companies that you do interviews with or do demonstrations with, are you able to present patient handouts? Can you provide them with summaries of visits? Are you able to easily copy and paste lab work results that is redacted, of course, or consult notes or recommendations from your specialist into a certain spot. And most importantly, can you do both ambient dictation, which is listening to the conversation, as well as direct dictation, where you actually say, I'm going to write a letter to your employer. It says, Mary was off for 2 weeks. She talked to me today. She has issues that will take 3 or 4 weeks to recover, and she's going for treatment now. And the patient will say, that's exactly what the note should say. So with this program, you can do both ambient as well as direct dictation at the same time. As mentioned to you before, all the companies here will definitely meet provincial health privacy laws, and they should be stored the data in Montreal. So ask them, are they meeting the Canadian privacy legislation? One unique feature is, do they partner with anyone? So as an official partner with the AAFP, American Academy of Family Physicians, that does hold some weight. So what I'll show you today is how you can work with your local support team in Vancouver to really find a quick, elegant solution suited for primary care. In my humble opinion, the most important thing that you should all ask for is how accurate is the AI note generation? And I would say to you that you should just take some of this information now as I show you the slide, the AI generated notes, so that you can follow up, that you can see the Empathia desktop in front of you. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so everyone, I just want to show you the navigation. On this side is where you can set up all the customized features, how you want your notes to be set up, what type of macros, what type of templates. I myself have telemedicine templates, in-person templates. I also have team-based care review templates, and I have pre-charting templates. You'll see the encounter from top to bottom. You'll see that I've done 4,244 notes so far, and I can change my inbox to things that I have not yet copied or what was done recently. And so if we enter into Sarah, I'm going to demonstrate for you what I would do to ensure that this is in my chart note. What you'll see here is a button where you can give feedback and teach your AI scribe. Here is another feature where you can look at the smart edit feature. This is the copy paste. So if I copy and paste this, what I'm supposed to do is put it into my patient's note. I chose a test patient so that privacy can be maintained. And this is how I exactly do it. So someone please time me. Essentially, I want to make sure that I highlight for my future reference, it's presenting for abdominal pain. We wanted to see that, is it accurate? Was the information correct? I've looked carefully. Dr. Gonzalez did talk about nausea, vomiting, and bowel motions. It has been affecting her, and so luckily the AI scribe was able to do that. It also coincided with the abdominal pain, that is, coincided when her mom was in the rehab for her alcohol use. I think the AI scribe did a good job of realizing that Sarah was suffering from some of the stress for mom being in hospital. Here's the physical exam component. And so no organomegaly, I remember that very clearly. But as I go down, I look at, why did the patient present? What was done or what was found about it, and what's the plan? That is the minimum requirements for a good note from the college. So if you look here, the working diagnosis is abdominal pain. The differential diagnosis is functional abdominal pain. And what's the plan? So luckily, I think it heard loud and clear that the blood work for liver function, H. pylori, fecal samples were done. Even the mention about mindfulness, meditation, and light exercise was recommended. Although Sarah was dying to be seen in 2 weeks' time or maybe a week's time, Dr. Gonzalez was so busy, he was able to book her at 4 weeks. But of course, if there was any problems with the note, they would leave it. And so essentially what I'm going to do with this note, Mary Lou, can you still see my screen?
Yes, we see it.
Is I've time-stamped it, and now I'm going to sign off on it. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew, and I have to close this screen now for privacy, that I use my EMR mainly to edit it. If I wanted to report some improvement, I can say, next time, spend more details on counseling. And when I submit it, the AI program will learn from it and can regenerate. Say, for example, I wanted to change it very easily. Change she to he. And so what it would do is change the note, or if I wanted to change the name of a medication, it spelled the medication wrong. It would regenerate the note, and you could see the differences left and right. So that's very important to be able to work forward. And I wanted to make sure that I was respectful of my team. I did show Emma, and I did show how this can be very helpful for quick edits. But the last thing I'll do is you can have summaries here. You can have patient handouts. So dear Sarah, it was a pleasure seeing you today. This is what happened during our visits. You can send this either by email here, or you can print it out as a PDF for the patient, and it summarizes everything. That really helps for the anxious parents that bring in family members and such. So I think that this is just a great example. How did I do for time, Mary Lou? How did I do for explaining things clearly to you?
We're doing good. We have 3 minutes for questions.
I think that was perfectly planned. I was only given 3 minutes for questions, so I can take some questions if you wish. Are there any chat questions?
Yeah. Ngui, can I just ask a question? On the note, it mentioned something about GERD and other differentials. Is that kind of generated by the machine, or is that something that you I see
the
function
rules for all of us were not to edit at all, but the rules for all of you clinicians is that it's up to you to make sure it makes sense. So an AI scribe program is a tool. You are ultimately responsible for the differential diagnosis. You are ultimately responsible for editing it. So if you didn't feel that reflux is a possibility, if you didn't feel that peptic ulcer was a possibility, you probably should delete it. But the nice thing is that if you did think about that, it already anticipated that as a possibility.
And I just want to add as well, Dr. Ngui, your differential diagnosis setting may be on, and that's why it's providing that. If it was off, then it would not be.
It's part of the college's response. Actually, I would encourage all of you to read the BCAT, the British Columbia assessment guidelines. In fact, as a previous college assessor, you should have a differential diagnosis, because what you're proving is your intellectual footprint. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about all the possibilities? Did you miss a bleeding ulcer? So I would say I wouldn't turn it off. I would leave it on purpose, because the more that I can prove to someone else I'm thinking properly, the better I will pass an audit, and the better I can share my individual.
There's time for one question from Dr. Khorrami. Please, can you unmute yourself?
Thank you so much.
I have time for one more question. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. So my question is, in your view, what is the most important drawback to using these systems, or cons of it? Do you find anything?
So personally, I think that it's the best thing I've done from a practice management point of view in my entire career. The reason why a lot of doctors don't want to do it is because they're afraid it'll take time. With everything, you have to learn. There's a learning curve, but that's why you have colleagues who can show you along the way. It's been the best thing for me to be more efficient, to be more effective as a clinician, to start listening to my patients' stories, but you do have to do their homework. I really want to encourage you, reach out to your peer mentors, ask PSP, I want to talk to that doctor and I want him to mentor me on this. And you do have to invest the time. And I think you have to try a couple companies, because there's no one perfect company, but it's the company that suits your style and is the fastest, that can make you most efficient. That is the key. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? I don't want to step on my colleague's toes. So Mary Lou, I think
yeah, Candace has her hand up and she's my boss. So
yeah, I just wanted to ask Dr. Ngui, could you speak to the time difference from when you first started using it to now? How much time you spend editing it, like just to demonstrate that it does learn?
Yeah, no, I think at the very beginning, I didn't know how to copy and paste that quickly. I also For example, if you notice here, I love the fact that reason for visit, history of present illness, past medical history, physical examination is all capitalized. I love the fact that there's a differential diagnosis and you can see the plan very clearly because I trained it to be like a college assessor. I want to pass my college audit. I want to pass my MSP audit to prove that I actually did something for my patient. So I think that I saved a lot of time by training it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ngui. If anybody has more questions, please put them in the chat, and so that we can continue with Dr. Gonzalez. Are you going to be showing Nabla?
Yes, let me just share my screen here. And Gavin, feel free to step in if you need to. Hold on. Let's have a look here. Share. And so, can anybody, hold on. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. So, so the layout of Nabla is fairly simple. It's an extension in Chrome. Same sort of mechanism. Nabla has identified. It goes by kind of SOAP notes. Is chief complaint abdominal pain. It gives you a history of presenting illness. It has been experiencing abdominal pain for a few weeks. It's present throughout the abdomen with tenderness in the left upper quadrant. So it takes into consideration part of the examination into the history of presenting illness. It has a past medical history of anxiety. In this particular scenario, if there's some other health situation causing stress, no specific conditions mentioned, I think they missed or Nabla missed the alcoholism bit. The abdominal examination conducted, bowel sounds normal, tenderness in the left upper quadrant, the middle of the stomach, no organomegaly or abnormalities detected. So on the assessment, which is part of the diagnosis, abdominal pain potential linked to anxiety, and again, no physical abnormalities detected in the abdomen. So on the plan, we set up for a full set of blood tests, work tests to be conducted, including full blood count, ferritin levels, liver function tests, H. pylori and fecal samples to be taken, discussion about strategies for managing anxiety, and follow-up appointment in 4 weeks. So a couple of key things that really have helped me. If you want to generate patient instructions, you can do so. You can copy it, put it into the notes, or send it in Mile. We have the ability to send it directly on the patient's portal for them to see. That is allocated electronically, or we can print it for the patient to take home as well. So it's very straightforward. Again, as Dr. Ngui has mentioned, when you're having little kids, or even I find patients with dementia, they come in with their carers, they always they want to have that sort of explanation, because a lot of times consultations can be overwhelming. So that is one thing that I find it to be quite useful. The other kind of nice thing about Nabla as well, it gives you the transcript, and there's a lot of other cool things that you can do with it. I have allocated my previous consultations, which I've had before, which I can reference to go back. I have a lot of 3/4 of my population are Spanish-speaking patients. So I have set up a English to Spanish translation. I can speak freely in Spanish, and Nabla has really this particular AI scribe does a wonderful job in actually making the translation. So that has been very very eye-opening and changing for my practice, because again, 3/4 of my patients are Spanish speaking. And there's a couple here things here that are in the beta, but they're also useful. Patient naming, so nouns. We're in a very kind of multi-diverse area, so that becomes really important. On the notes, we can again amend a kind of multiple notes if there's psychiatry, cardiology, and there's a couple of them that are quite helpful. The other thing that I find really helpful is where all the dot phrases. So if you're doing patients with lower back pain, knee pain, there are certain types of phrases that you can pick up. Say if the oral trigger is, I'm having a patient with lower mechanical back pain, but there's no focal neurological deficit. I'll say something like normal back examination, and Nabla will pick up my examination to be put in a template for the notes. That's been very, very helpful for me as well. So I don't know, Gavin, am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so, but perhaps I can share my screen so we can look at the
Sure.
way that it was generated in the SOAP format, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll just go ahead and share my screen here. Sorry, 1 second. I don't use Zoom as, I just have to enable the settings here. Okay. Oh, okay. It says it wants me to quit and reopen Zoom. Let me just try and share one more time here. Okay, can you all see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. So yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Gonzalez, for sharing all of that. I think where it's worth spending a little bit of extra time with Nabla is through, so you can see how it's generated the note here in a SOAP format. I think what's really unique about Nabla is particularly in the ability to customize how the note's generating. So the concept of the magic edit that Daniel touched on earlier is great. With Nabla, you can go through and basically proactively prompt the system to know the way that you want it to generate a note in advance. So for example, I could say, here's some easy examples are just the formatting, paragraph, bullet point, but also custom instructions. So this is really how you can instruct the underlying AI to know your style, your preferences, and how to consistently generate a note that meets that time over time. So a lot of times our clinicians are really utilizing this to continue to fine tune how the system is generating. So if you find yourself making a magic edit over and over and over again, perhaps it's an area that you might want to just include in a custom instruction so it knows ahead of time how to generate that note. I think that that and the dot phrases that Dr. Gonzalez was touching on, as well as the UI, are really what differentiates Nabla and is why we're the most widely used system in North America. That's really all that I had to add. I think there's
a lot of questions happening.
Please, yeah.
What are the languages that Nabla understands?
So there's over 35 available right now. I would have to actually get a full list of that, but it is,
If you can send it to me, I will be happy to send them to.
Of course.
For all the vendors, if you can send me the list of languages that your tool support, that would be great. There's a lot of questions. I don't want to answer them right now. I want to keep going with the next vendor. If there's any specific questions for Nabla, I'll take one more. Please raise your hand. Otherwise, who's up next? It's Tali. Siamak, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Siamak Khorrami. I'm the head of product with Tali. I'm also based out of Vancouver, so really great to meet all the Vancouver-based physicians today. For those of you who may not have heard of Tali, Tali has been around for the past 4 years. We started with medical search and dictation, and as the AI Scribe product category emerged a couple of years ago, we've been one of the first Canadian companies that started to build and launch AI Scribing, this company. So today I'm going to share a bit about what Tali does and how it can help you with more productivity in your day-to-day practice. Since most of my peers in other companies, Nabla and Empathia, have already done a great job to explain what AI Scribe does and how it can benefit from the basic functionality, I'm not going to spend so much time on that aspect. But to give you an overview of Tali, this is the note that just generated. You see the transcript is here. You can access the full details of the transcript, and depending on your preference, you can document the note in different format. Either it is a simple sub, or if it is a sub multiple issue, or if you want to have more breakdown of the different sections, start with HPI and other part of the history, you can do that as well. Also, you can use the generate functionality to generate the referral letter automatically, or provide a simple summary. And then you can use smart edit to, oh, sorry, was that? Is there a question for me?
No, I think somebody's still with mic on. I'll mute them.
Oh, okay, great. So you can use the smart edit. There are some predefined, most frequently prompts that you can see here, that if you want to make a correction into the pronoun in case Tali may not capture that correctly, or if you want to include certain patient codes into the note, you can do that. Also, if you have a patient that you want to provide a translation in another language, for example, in Spanish, you can do that here and translate the note into another language. Similar to other AI scribes, that we have different level of customization, from very predefined settings to help you to define your preferred note style, whether it is in bullet or paragraph format. But also we have the template custom instruction that you can provide more customization into your note, whether it is a kind of a sort of macro and a stamp. Specifically for physical examination, there are more lots of time. There are certain things that as doctors you may not verbalize during the visit, but you want to include it in the note. It is an actual real custom instruction by one of our users, that this is how they have customized how Tali should document physical examination. Depending on how they verbalize certain things during the visit, Tali understand those keywords, normal or abnormal, and a certain issue that has been discussed for different body systems, and that captures it as instructed. That is a really interesting one, because we have learned that how Tali and overall AI Scribe is helping physicians to change the way they interact with patients, and specifically for the physical examination, where there's less comfortness to verbalize medical terms. But in the meantime, we need the note to be professional and capture the level of details that you expect. That removes the need of most of the macros and stamps that usually you need to create in your EMRs by providing this sort of instructions to Tali. The other thing that I can highlight for Tali is that Tali is also available in multiple platforms. You see Chrome extension. Also, we have mobile and desktop applications, and soon we have our web application. Depending on the workflow, specifically if you're moving around in different physical examination rooms, our mobile application is going to be very helpful, and the note is synchronized across all the platforms. So you can record a conversation by your mobile app, and that shows up in your Chrome extension or desktop application as well. We are one of the most integrated AI scribing in Canada. We have integration with MedAccess, CHR, PS Suite, Oscar, and Oscar Pro, and Health Quiz. And soon Accuro is going to be the next EHR that we are integrated with. In the first phase, the integration is showing up Tali as an icon here that it provides you a smart launch that once you land on the patient chart, it understands the context of the visit that you have. It launches Tali here. And the good thing about it is that specifically for clinics where there are multiple physicians are using the same device, it helps you to get rid of the effort of providing your credentials to log in and log out from Tali. Because as soon as you're logged into your EMR, you are automatically logged into Tali as well. As you see, then you can start using it. Very soon, in 2 weeks, we are going to launch a function that we call note auto population, meaning that once the note is generated, like this one, you see this button appears here. You click on copy to EHR, and you don't need to go through the effort of individually and manually copy each individual section into the CHR. For example, soon it is going to be available for CHR and PS Suite, and later for MedAccess and other EHRs that we are integrated with. That also adds to the point that because we are integrated with all these EMRs, we have gone through a very extensive privacy and security review to ensure that both the doctor and, more importantly, patient data are protected against all the regulatory requirement in both Canada and US. And that is something that we have always on the top of mind, and as well as we are being SOC 2 certified, that making sure that we do all the proper measure to avoid any data breaches specifically for patient data. So with that, that's where I wanted to share with you that for those of you who are using CHR or PS Suite EMR, soon the note auto population functionality in a couple of weeks is going to be available. If you are using Oscar Pro, Health Quest, or MedAccess, that will be in the next couple of months as well, and then followed by Accuro. I pause here.
I have a question, Siamak. When you're showing this, it says presenting issue, undefined concern. Is that something that the tool can learn, or do you have to write it in, or how does that come along?
Yeah, definitely. You mean the next part, right? Sorry, this part. This part that because we don't have the full functionality for now in terms of the integration with the CHR, that doesn't show up here. But once we update the node through the API, that will be updated as well. So it is not about the tool itself; it's about that how we can update the EMR. But for now, that section is going to leave as blank.
Okay. And other questions that have come up are, does it take Farsi?
Yes, Farsi is currently available on our mobile, not on Chrome Extension desktop, but it will be available on all the other platforms later on.
Okay. And where is the data stored and for how long?
In Canada. And we have kind of a policy that depending on the clinic preference, we have a flexible data retention policy, and that can be negotiated.
Okay. Anybody else has a question for Siamak about Tali? There's lots of questions happening in the chat. I'll get to them. I just want to make sure that all the vendors can do the demos, and then we can jump into the questions. Okay. Thank you so much, Siamak. Next one up is Scribeberry. They're Canadian. And are you ready?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
See me? Awesome. Hey everyone, my name's Dr. Zaahir Moloo. I'm a family doc from Edmonton and one of the co-founders of Scribeberry. My other co-founder Aman is here as well. And yeah, we're happy to kind of demo Scribeberry, and of course, thank you for the opportunity. I'm just going to share my screen here and then run through the note, but then also Scribeberry itself. Can everyone see that there? Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so this is Scribeberry. essentially, we have a web app. It's mobile responsive, so you can use it on the web, on your phone, across devices. When you first get here, so you go to scribeberry.com, you input, your email, your login, you log in, and this is kind of what you would see. So you would see this screen here. On the left-hand side, what you can do is create what are called scribes, and these are like your patient charts. You can rename these, let's say I want to put Mary Lou, for example, or like a patient's name. Maybe I want to create folders as well and kind of put consults in there, so you can kind of, drag and drop. So left-hand side for organization. The right-hand side here is for templates. And I'll get to these, but these are like, SOAP notes, patient handouts, etc. We have a ton of default templates, but then you can also customize your own. And then the starting point really is the blue Start Here button. And you have a number of different use cases here. I'll start off just by showing you the note that was generated. So this was the SOAP note with kind of the conversation that was there. I did miss the first few seconds as I was setting it up. I didn't realize it would be live, but that's the note that was put out there. And then if you do want to look at the transcript, you can kind of look there, and I'll explain some of the functionality here. When you start a visit in Scribeberry, you can pick the type of note you want up here. You can pick a from language and a to language if you want real-time translation of that conversation. And then this is our language list. I can pass it on as well. So we have Punjabi, Farsi, I think was one of the questions. And we also have this auto detect where you can switch languages mid-conversation, like Franglish, or if your patient speaks, English and another language, and it'll kind of do both. And then, yeah, you pick the to language, that's the translation there. And then you press submit and you will get your note out. From here, very similar to the other vendors, you can copy this, you can manually edit it, you can PDF export and print, you can send it via email or email to fax. And then the bottom bar here, you can use to kind of chain notes or make smart edits. We also do have that quick action menu. So for example, let's say, I need a referral to GI for this patient, write me a short 1-paragraph referral. It should take kind of the above context and do that letter for you, right? And so on. So you can use this bottom bar to chain things to create patient handouts, summaries, and the AI will kind of respond appropriately. Some differentiating features. So one is the ability, you don't actually necessarily have to have conversations. So a use case, this is very popular with residents, for example, is let's say you discharge a patient from hospital and you need to do a discharge summary. Instead of, let's say, going in and dictating word for word, something that you can do, and this is just an example note I have, is just paste in or attach files from your EMR and press submit, and it will take all of that context and kind of do your discharge summary for you. And so it takes notes, it can take audio, it can take files, so like images, PDFs, and you can put any amount of each kind of modality into a scribe, and it'll take all of that or some of that, whatever you want, and turn it into a note. Best way to illustrate this is with a new scribe. So if I start a new visit, I can have a conversation, I can write anything in here, I can attach any files, and then when I press submit, it will generate the note. Another cool thing is that in emergency rooms, if you have multiple visits on the go, you can actually have multiple scribes with, let's say, saved context before you generate a note. And you can go back and forth between different visits without pressing submit. And then at the end of the day, go through all 20 visits, submit them, and do your notes at the end of the day. So it's just a bit of flexibility there in terms of workflow as well. Templates are huge. So with us, what you can do is create templates here. All you have to do is give it an example of the note from your EMR, a note you like. You hit generate, and it'll kind of learn your style and structure. So I'll show you here. Once it kind of gets that note, you can add your own headings or type it in. Maybe I want a patient handout at the end. You can change the template type or type in your own. Maybe I want it to be called a psych note. And then you can have instructions, macros, dot phrases, anything you want for each section. And then create this, and then you can use it over and over again as a reusable template. So if I give it that data again and press submit, it will use that format to generate the note that I want. We have dictation, which I'm not going to spend too much time on. We're kind of old school. You know, if you want to dictate word for word, you can. A lot of our users work offline, and so they upload files. Palliative care docs who do home visits, doctors in hospital who round. Internet might not be available, so if you use a dictaphone or an offline device, you can upload a file and get the transcript. And then from the transcript, you can hit the bottom bar and say, turn this transcript into a SOAP note or turn it into one of your templates, and it will kind of adapt and go on from there. Other features. So we have, this is called Ada. So Ada essentially will interview patients for you before you see them and give you the note as a pre-triage. For example, let's say, I tag this with Bob, patient's name, either the office staff or yourself, you send them a link or get them to scan this QR code. And then what the patient will see is this, wherever they are, they press the check mark and then they can chat with Ada, who is adaptive. I'll show you what I mean.
Hi there, my name is Ada, and I'll be collecting your medical history today. Feel free to speak to me as you would a human. What brings you in today?
Yeah, I've had abdominal pain for the last 2 days. And I won't show you the whole thing, but just to give you an idea, you can trick
I'm
Ada
sorry to
too.
hear that. Can you describe the pain for me? Is it a constant pain or does it come and go?
Actually, I lied completely to you. I don't like talking to you, and I just shattered my femur. So yeah, just as an example. So.
Oh dear, that sounds quite serious. I appreciate your honesty, and I'm here to help you in any way I can. Let's focus on the femur injury then.
Yeah, so not to kind of bore you with the whole visit, but essentially what would happen then, Aman can share his screen here. You would get that HPI before the patient walks in. And then you can kind of carry on the visit, review it, finish off, and get your final note at the end. Or you can talk back to it like Aman has. This is an example one that he did on his right ankle. But let's say he wants to create, an exercise in table format. You can do that, and so on. But yeah, how this is being used, one of two ways. One, when the patient calls the clinic to book an appointment, the receptionist or MOA has Scribeberry access. They send out this link, it comes back, MOA moves it to the EMR, and then you have kind of, instead of seeing chest pain or cough or the one word, you can see a full history of what's coming in. And then the second way is very similar. If you had a student taking histories, this would be able to kind of fulfill that role as well. We're building out a lot of customization with this. Soon there'll be kind of agents that people can call and integrations with EMRs on this front. But that's just an additional feature as well. And I'll share Scribeberry back again. Support, we have 24/7 live support with the real person at all times. Response in a few minutes. So if you need help with anything, that's there. And then trying to think anything I've missed. Yeah, I think those are most of them. Oh, one thing, this bottom bar, you can also pull up guidelines and ask for clinical decision-making support, provided that we have it. So for example, according to the Ottawa ankle rules, when should I X-ray a patient? And so you can ask those questions, and you can also ask for specific links to those guidelines, and it'll pull up those guidelines as well. Anything else, Aman? I think those are all.
A couple of small things. So like at the bottom, you don't necessarily need to type. You can also dictate those. So you can dictate the instructions just to make it a little bit quicker. And then in terms of the actual ambient scribe, we support both telemedicine and live in person. So you can kind of do it over Zoom, over Google Meet, over a phone call, or just in person, kind of up to you in terms of your workflow.
Yeah. Pricing wise, so for enterprise, we're $79 a month or $7.99 a year, and that's unlimited access to everything and unlimited use. We don't like tiers and gates and whatnot. We have this refer and earn, where if you refer people, you can also earn. I won't go too much into that. And yeah, we have a lot of things planned, I guess, coming up, but yeah, I don't know how much time I have. I'll stop there.
Zaahir, sorry, and you're Canadian, right? Scribeberry is Canadian?
Yeah. So yeah, we're Canadian. We're based out of Alberta and in Edmonton. Aman's in Toronto. But yeah, we're Canadian. All our data is in Canada. We don't retain any data. We don't train on any data. Everything is end-to-end encrypted. And when the clinician deletes it, it's gone forever.
Great, thank you.
Just one thing, maybe, Zaahir, if you want to show the extension very quickly.
I don't know if, let's see. Can you guys see this here? I probably will have to share my whole screen.
It's okay. Well, maybe we can just talk about it a little bit. But yeah, in terms of the integrations, right now it is copy and paste from the web app, but the extension allows you to also drag and pull and push into any web-based EMR. So not just a single one, but every single one.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? We do have a patient consent. All our privacy info is public as well, if you want to review it. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I don't see, well, I see a lot of questions, but nothing in particular. I think that you can go through the chat and start answering as much as you can. Just make sure that you put in your name what tool you have, because I can see them not understanding who's from where. So just make sure that you put your last name is your tool, please, for the vendors.
There's just a question from Sophia.
Yeah.
If does the predetermined history require the patient have tech? So not necessarily. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, right now it's a link, but what we're building out in version 2 is soon it'll be phone number, and patient can call in, or you can send out an email or a call as well.
What we've seen kind of workflow wise is if there are some seniors, then there's usually like a caregiver that kind of answers that pre-intake.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please feel free to go to look through the chat and respond to questions that come up there. And next up, our last vendor. Thank you so much, Zaahir and Aman. Our last presenter is Dr. Daniel Shirvani. He's with Quas. So I think you can start sharing your screen when you're ready.
Alrighty, if my colleagues at Scribeberry could unshare the screen, I can start sharing what I've got over here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Last but not least, let me start sharing my screen. Thank you so much, Marilu, for the introduction. I will say I'm not a doctor yet. I'm actually a medical student in Vancouver. And yeah, I'm just actually at Vancouver General right now, and the power went out for a second and it came back up. So I apologize if it goes out again, but it should be fine for internet. Long story short, yeah, I actually live on the North Shore, so I am the only person here who can say that they are the founder and from the North Shore. And of course, I'm enrolled in the FP North Shore division. I think Marilu and her team pays for my what's it called? Up-to-date subscription, which is super nice. So this is my way of giving back. And so long story short, I started Quas for 3 reasons. One is that I saw how charting was negatively affecting my clinical mentors. And 2 was I started looking into AI scribes, and I won't say which ones in particular, but I'm going to tell you right now, you got to read through these terms of services. And you should also look at who is telling you which tool to use. This is a great marketing strategy, but a lot of these tools have like different referral programs. They'll like pay people to market. And you should just be wary that, there can often be a lot more going on when, someone recommends a product to you. So that's something you should keep in mind, and also looking over these terms of services. And 3 is a matter of inequality. And so with Quas, our end goal here is actually to open source our entire infrastructure and try to take down the AI scribe market that way by essentially having everyone and anyone be able to host one of these themselves. And yeah, sort of like what Oscar was before, you know, it was all bought out and all that. So yeah, and I'm proud to say we only serve British Columbia. I don't believe any other tool here can say that. We have over 100 physicians in the community, and actually, like Google flew me out to their headquarters just earlier in the summer, and I got to meet the CEO. I got to give a talk about what it's like to build AI products, and you know, try to scale these things and try to hopefully do some good at the same time. And so, yeah, with that said, here's our homepage. I just want to show you all what that looked like, and yeah, so I'll just switch tabs to Quas. So I'm just running it locally on my computer for now, just because we made some changes recently. But here's our chart. It's a soap note. It's extremely simple. And one thing I hope you all appreciate is that if you feel like you suck at technology or you don't know what you're doing with tech, this is the whole app. And it is extremely simple to use. It is very hard to mess up, but it doesn't have all like the weird buttons, the weird gizmos, all that stuff that you just won't end up using anyways. And so, I mean, here's our chart. It looks incredibly simple. It looks incredibly beautiful. It has everything that we wanted. It organized everything nicely. I wish we had a harder one where, you know, it was multi-issue, but that's fine. So how do you get started with Quas? You hit Start Scribe and you have 2 options. One is doctor only. So that is like your Dragon, but on steroids, where it'll just listen to you, like, you know, yap around to the computer, you know, forget about your ums, forget about your ahs. It'll just format everything beautifully as if you were dictating it. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I think 90 to 95% of our interactions are on with patient. And that's, of course, where it just sits, you know, listens to Sarah and Dr. Gonzalez talk. And automatically generates the chart for you. Now, as far as customization, it literally does not get easier than using Quas, and you will find out yourself as well once you start using it. So as far as tone goes, you have neutral, formal, brief, detailed. You can play around with that. As far as style goes, paragraphs, bullets, you're good. You can play around with that. And as far as templates goes, you can literally access the AI under the hood right on this platform. No gizmos, nothing crazy. It's just simple and it gets the job done. So if you click on manage over here, there you wait a couple seconds and it'll load up all your templates for you. So this is one that we have for letters. This is one that we have for multi-soap. So if someone comes in with multiple issues, oh, sorry, I accidentally opened up the Zoom. And here's the standard soap note. And what's really great about our platform is like you think about like patient education and stuff, you can literally do whatever you want with this platform. So if you click on new template, let's call this patient education. You can just be like, you know, based on the patient I saw today, please write a short, you know, a short letter I can send them that describes what we did today, as well as the plan going forward. And you know, please finish it as sincerely, Dr. Gonzalez. See, I can't type, which is why I had to make this thing. Sorry, Dr. Gonzalez, hope I spelled your last name right. And we hit save and wait a few seconds and it's done. And it literally doesn't get simpler than that. So like you can always like click on, for example, patient education, refresh it, let it apply its magic. Wait like a few more seconds. And yeah, sometimes the AI has a little bit of text. You can just get rid of it. But dear Sarah, I appreciate you coming in, blah, 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 blah. Dr. Gonzalez, copy paste that and send it off to your patient via email or whatever you want to do. Now, of course, we have phone pairing as well. So you click this, you can pair it up with your phone, which is super neat. And additionally, if you have like a Mac device, what you can do is we've set up this really cool system where, sorry, let me just clear my notifications that keep coming in on my phone. But if you load it up here, you click on your microphone, you hit test, and now I can just take my phone with me. I didn't have to install any software. This just loaded up by itself, and I'm good to go, which is incredible. So that works. But also if you have Windows or you don't want to, use all these different Mac features. We've created a separate system for that. And yeah, and so of course we also have a magic editing button. So let's say, oh my gosh, it wasn't Sarah with an H, it was Sarah just with an A. So it was Sarah, not Sarah. And you click on do magic, you wait 5 seconds, and then it'll just fix the whole chart for you. Dear Sarah, there we go. But it gets even more advanced than that because, again, this is AI that we've integrated, and it's your PIPA compliant playground for AI. So you can even say, write this entire thing as a Taylor Swift song. You know, I think a lot of my classmates really enjoyed that. So you let that load up, you give it a couple seconds, and dear Sarah, here we go. And here's our song that we can give to Sarah. But yeah, besides that, this is Quas. You can literally see, I think my demo was very short, and it was very short for a reason, because it's an incredibly simple platform. Now, one thing I do want to sort of leave you all with is that I think you've now seen today that, let's just be totally honest, all of these pieces of software that you've seen, all of these different pitches that you've seen have essentially been the same. And so you have to start asking yourself, why should I go to a specific platform? Why should I go to this one, et cetera? And so for Quas, there's 3 reasons. One is community, one is rapid innovation, and one is our sort of like ethical mission that we're trying to push. Now, one thing that the reason why we've got more than 100 users in the area is just because what I tell them is that if there's a competitor with a feature that you want, you tell me the feature, we will build it for you within 2 weeks. And if we don't, we'll give you a Quas for free for like 3 months. And that's what we do. And that's what we've done. And that's what's taken the software to this point. And so instead of selling you a product, we are going to be working with you to build the product that you need. And we can only do that because we're BC based and we're BC focused. And quite frankly, that's what we're doing. You have the choice between Quas, a community platform, or picking any one of the profit motivated standard platforms. And, you know, that's just the angle I'm taking on this, trying to be aggressive with it. And yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. I'm sure Marilu will send it out. And yeah, and this is the reason why we've pulled people from every single one of these companies into Quas. And instead of trying to find out why, you might as well start with us in the first place. But besides that, thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilu. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're here. We have 15 minutes to see if we have any questions that we want to address. I have not read them all. So please, if you want to raise your hand and unmute yourself so that we can save my time of reading through all of these right now. Okay, Kavita Kent, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hi there. Thank you everyone for your presentations. And mine's actually kind of a simple question and perhaps Marilu, you can answer it for me. Is there any obligation on the physician's behalf to disclose to the patient that the conversation is being transcribed and which particular vendor they're using? I just don't know if there's a standard in terms of communication.
No, that there's not a standard, but everybody has to be very clear with the patient that they need consent. All the physicians need consent from the patients to use the AI tool. And the recommendation right now is to be as broad as possible, because you could change from one vendor to another, right? Or change your style, and you don't want to keep grabbing consent every time the patient walks in. So yes, you do need to tell them there's certain guidelines on all the information that needs to be provided to the patients. And we do have some samples that other physicians have sent us. There's not a standard form from the college at this point, or the CMPA.
I believe someone in the chat said there is a standard from CMPA.
No, there's not.
There's not a standard, but they have answered questions on like consent. And so pretty much what they say is what Marilu said, that you do need to get consent. And it just has like a paragraph or two on that. So, yeah.
And sorry, just one thing to add. It's sort of the way I'd like to phrase it to our users is that it's sort of just like when you get consent for a procedure, it's all about informed consent. And you should know about like whether or not your platform, just for you to know, it's good to know whether or not your platform trains on, you know, AI, like trains on patient data. And it's good to know these little things. But at the end of the day, it is up to the physician, which is important, and which makes it important that you understand exactly how your product works and that you're comfortable that, you know, they're not retaining data, that they're not training stuff. And so just make sure you trust your vendor and that you can relay that to your patients.
Usually you don't have to disclose where the data sits or if it's recorded, saved or whatever, but the patients may ask you before signing the consent. So you have to be sure that all the information that you get from your vendor is the same in writing, because sometimes there's, you know, some differences. So yeah, Dr. Barry, sorry, you've been with your hand up for a while. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for the informative session. I have 2 questions for Quas that it is like BC based. Do you guys have Farsi language as well?
Yeah, so we're actually adding support for about 50 languages. They're not public yet, just because we like to work with our physicians before we just publish a multilingual model, just because we want to make sure it doesn't have little mistakes. We're very stringent about the quality of our notes. If you're interested in being an early user of our Farsi model, I'll put my email in the chat. Feel free to let me know. But it's going to be coming very soon, officially.
Is it also, there is a Turkish language as well? Not the Turkish in Farsi Turkish, Islam, like when the Turkish.
I have to double check the list. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I will get the list from all the vendors of all the languages and I will circulate that to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taktan. Thank you.
Dr. Gross, you have your hand up as well.
Hello, thanks, Mary Lou. Just a quick question. I wanted to get a sense, because obviously this is a lot of information over a short period of time, and thank you to everyone for presenting. It's extremely exciting. The question is, how many of these different companies have apps that you can use easily from a mobile phone? I think I only heard maybe Empathia. Is everything else browser-based?
I can gather that as well, if you can all send that to me.
And then the compatibility of those apps with various EHRs. So all of these exist as standalone extensions, I understand. None of these companies are well, they can integrate the note depending which EMR. Like I like that feature from Tali, I think it was, it said copy to EHR or copy to chart. That was terrific.
Yeah, from what I heard, only Tali is integrated to some of the EMRs at this point, but
comment on that. So it is not just the copy. We have the ability for the smart launch, meaning that there's an icon for Tali that you can directly click on that icon, and that gets the context of the patient chart. That means that Tali knows where it should send a note back, as well as in the future, we can add more additional features based on that patient context with the consent of the doctor. So it is formally integrated through the EHR, and we have gone through the process with TLS, because there are other options to do that, to provide that copy to EHR as well, but that is not the formal and official integration. The way that we have been integrated is approved and reviewed from privacy and security perspective as well.
Yeah, and I want to add, you know, integration can be important to some doctors, but the copy paste function of all the other EMRs is quite simple to use, and you know, it's just as functional, if I can say something. From, you know, I have my bachelor in information technology. It really wouldn't make a decision towards one or the other. Of course, you know, the ease of use could be helpful, but it's not a key differential that will make me make a decision. You have to see how you get along with the whole tool itself.
The only
But,
question,
you know, testing it in your own practice, right? In your own style. You have to see how you get along with the tool and how it learns from you. That's the most important thing.
yeah, I completely agree. Because if, for example, your EHR has multiple fields, like a SOAP note would have 4 fields or 5, are you copy pasting each of those sections from the scribe to subjective, then objective, then assessment, then plan? Like for one note, you're copy pasting half a dozen times, whereas some EHRs have 1 field. So you just copy paste the whole thing into that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is to do this demo, and then, you know, based on what you capture from this, you decide in which order you want to test each one of them.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Pawlowski.
Can you please tell me which programs are not compatible with MILE? If the representatives, are the representatives all familiar with MILE? It's an EMR from Quebec. And
I use Mile with Nabla, and again there isn't an integration per se, but it's 2 of our colleagues are using Mile in our clinic, and we use Nabla, and we do the copy paste option with it, and so compatibility with Mile, I think any of the AI programs are compatible with it in the sense that you can basically copy paste the information into it. So it's more of an extension than actual integration to the EHR.
Can I add something here? I have several new locum docs from Toronto that I have used Empathia in Plexia, and it was like beautiful. It was integrative, and nobody had to type anything or copy paste, nothing. It was beautiful. They just put their phone down, had a really good chat with someone, and it was I was blown away that they that how the Chrome integration and Plexia use Chrome, and it was anyways, I cannot say enough good things about Empathia and Plexia. Plexia has been bought by Mile, and I did not switch to Mile because Plexia is BC based. It was developed by the neurologist in British Columbia, and Mile is Quebec and Ontario based, so I did not switch. Anyways, long story short, Plexia and Empathia work.
Thanks for your feedback.
Can I just add, can you hear me?
Yes.
I do remember reading something from CMPA that they felt that the copy paste function was a drawback, and that they felt if there were going to be mistakes that we should be very aware of, that we would be responsible for, that it would happen during the copy paste function. So I'm just putting that out there. And the other thing I wanted to ask, has anyone had the experience of using one of these AI programs and then deciding that they no longer wanted to continue with that program? What I'm speaking about is once you're in a contract, is it straightforward to get out of the contract from a particular AI? Is that is it specified in each contract? If you do want to switch AIs, for example, whether there's any problem.
Is Plexia, Victor.
Oh shit. Sorry, no, I'm not talking.
Sorry, Dr. Pawlowski, can you unmute yourself? Dr. Pawlowski, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, there you go.
I'm not talking about Mile, I'm talking about the AI programs. Has anyone been in a position, it's possible no one's had a chance to use the AI programs long enough, but do we know what it's like if someone wants to discontinue one particular AI program?
Mary Lou, Yeah, Mary Lou, maybe you can explain. Sorry, we have a couple of physicians within our division who've talked to Mary Lou about switching, and they've tried a couple of different platforms. It didn't sound that it was difficult, but maybe Mary Lou, you could speak to that.
Yeah, of course. So usually, we recommend that everybody demos the tools before engaging in a contract, because everything is changing so quickly, and everything, every tool brings a little different insight, and it might work for you at the clinic, but not for your colleague that, have the same workflow and everything. So the tools need to be tested personally. That's the number one recommendation from all the doctors that are using AI scribing tools right now. So once you understand how they each work, and you can go from one to another and negotiate with the vendors. Do we I need another month because, I'm not 100% sure, or it started working well and now it's not so well, so I want to give it another go. I mean, this is all conversational. So before you sign something, yes, you can change from whatever to whatever. It's not a problem. It's
Okay.
not a problem. You should try them, Dr. Pawlowski. You should test them yourself, and feel free to go from one to the other. There's no obligation until you have a contract, and for that, yes, you have to be, sure that that's what you want to use, and for the amount of time that you sign.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, one thing I would add to that, just so you make sure, if you're, depending on the platform you're using, just making sure that they're not training models off of the patient data that's coming in, because that's something that you can't get back. And so that is, I'd say, the only permanent effect.
What was that? Sorry?
Training AI models on voice, or training AI models on text. You should be very wary about that, because AI legislation, we're all, I'm sure I speak for Quas, but I'm sure everyone here is, PIPA, PIPEDA compliant, but that doesn't mean much when it comes to, what does it mean if we use, patient data to train AI models? Who owns that? Are we able to sell that? What does that look like? So just keep that in mind, and make sure you really, grill your vendor, myself included, about the way that they work with data, but just be very wary about that, because you don't want, a 23andMe situation or an Ancestry.com situation where they get bought out by private equity and, your patients are in the middle. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. We've run out of time. Dr. Gonzalez, would you like to share with us some final remarks?
I guess I first of all, I want to thank all the vendors and Mary Lou for putting all of this together and allowing me to co-host. I myself I'm getting certified into AI in healthcare by the University of Harvard, and all of this is very, very interesting, and it's gonna come into our practice whether we want it or not. At the moment, and specifically with most of the AI systems, they're kind of open AI. So to answer most of your questions, using any vendors nowadays is kind of like choosing which type of engine you want to use Google, you want to go Firefox, just go ahead and go crazy with it. And at the end of the day, the more less information disclose about your patients, because at the end of the day, the information that you want is the succinct medical information, not personal information, which is the identifiable information that we don't want to disclose. But I ask you that you give it a go, because we're responsible for getting a high quality of these, and the more feedback we give to any of the vendors, the better they're gonna get, and the better our life is gonna do as a result. And I think most of the interactions, or the bridging the gap between patients and doctors and giving feedback on this is gonna improve patients' outcomes in the end. So kudos for everybody for showing up, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk on behalf of the division. So I'm very humbled, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. I will be sending the recording to all our members and to the fellow divisions. And if anybody else needs it, let me know. Thank you and have a wonderful night.